You know, there's something I hear from so many people over 60. Something that doesn't always get talked about enough. It's that feeling of loneliness, especially when you're living alone. Maybe the house feels a little too quiet these days, or the phone doesn't ring as often as it used to. Maybe you've even caught yourself thinking, is this just how it's going to be from now on? Well, I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be. Loneliness isn't something you just have to live with. In fact, there are simple, everyday things you can do to feel more connected, more engaged, and yes, even more joyful, no matter your age or living situation. Today, we're going to talk about 5 simple ways to beat loneliness after 60. And the best part? These aren't complicated or expensive. They're small shifts that can make a big difference in how you feel. So, let's get started. Reconnect with old friends, or make new ones. Your path to meaningful connections. There's something magical about hearing the voice of someone who knew you back when. Maybe it's a childhood friend who remembers your first bike ride, a former coworker who shared countless coffee breaks with you, or a neighbor who used to wave from across the street every morning. These people are more than just memories, they're living threads in the story of your life. And right now, they might be feeling just as nostalgic as you are. Why reconnecting matters. As we get older, friendships often drift apart, not because we want them to, but because life gets busy. Kids grow up, careers change, and before we know it, decades have passed without that easy laughter we once shared. But here's the beautiful truth. Time doesn't erase real connection. Think about the last time someone from your past reached out to you. How did it feel? Chances are, it brightened your whole day. That's because being remembered is one of the most heartwarming feelings in the world. And the person you've been thinking about? They'll likely feel the exact same way when they hear from you. How to take that first step. If it's been years, or even decades, reaching out might feel intimidating. You might wonder, will they even remember me? What if they don't respond? But let me ask you this, what's the worst that could happen? Silence. Well, you're already feeling a little lonely now, so why not take the chance? The best case scenario, rekindling a friendship, is so much more powerful than the fear of trying. Here are a few simple ways to reconnect. The phone call. There's nothing quite like hearing someone's voice. If you have their number, take a deep breath and dial. Start with something easy like, "Hi, it's your name. I was just thinking about you and wanted to say hello." You don't need a big speech, just your voice and a little courage. A handwritten letter. In a world of texts and emails, a handwritten note feels like a gift. It doesn't have to be long, just a few lines saying you've been reminiscing and would love to catch up. Include your phone number or email so they can respond easily. Social media, if you're comfortable. Sites like Facebook are great for finding old friends. A simple message like, "I can't believe it's been so long. How have you been?" can open the door to a wonderful conversation. What if old friends are gone or too far away? Sometimes the past feels out of reach. Maybe someone has passed away, moved across the country, or just isn't interested in reconnecting. That's okay. Because while old friends are precious, new friends are waiting to meet you. Where to find new friends? After 60. The world is full of people who would love to know you. You just have to put yourself in the right places. Here's where to start. Community centers and senior groups. Nearly every town has a senior center or community group that hosts activities, everything from card games to dance classes. These aren't just activities, they're opportunities to meet people who are also looking for connection. Libraries and book clubs. If you love to read, or even just enjoy a good story, libraries often host book clubs where you can share thoughts and get to know others. No pressure, just good conversation. Volunteer. Helping others is one of the fastest ways to feel less alone. Food banks, animal shelters, and hospitals often need volunteers. When you're working side by side with people, friendships happen naturally. Take a class. Always wanted to learn to paint? Play the ukulele? Cook Italian food? Local community colleges or recreation centers offer low-cost classes where you can learn something new and meet others who share your interests. The secret. No one talks about. Here's something important to remember. You are not the only one feeling this way. So many people over 60 are longing for connection but are afraid to make the first move. That means when you reach out, whether to an old friend or a new one, you're not just helping yourself. You're giving someone else the gift of companionship too. Start small, but start today. You don't have to call 5 people or join 3 clubs tomorrow. Just take one small step. Look up an old friend's name online. Call your local senior center and ask about upcoming events. Smile at someone in the grocery store and say, "Beautiful day, isn't it?" Every great friendship begins with a single moment of courage. And the best time to start? Right now. Because you deserve to be seen, heard, and remembered. Today and every day after. So tell me, who's the first person you're going to reach out to? Find purpose in helping others, the unexpected cure for loneliness. There's a secret that happy seniors know, one that doesn't get talked about enough in our look out for yourself world. It's this: the quickest way to fill your own heart is to help fill someone else's. When loneliness creeps in, it's easy to focus on what's missing in your life. But what if you could flip that script entirely? What if, instead of waiting for connection to come to you, you became the source of connection for others? Why helping others works like magic. Science backs this up. When we help others, our brains release oxytocin, the bonding hormone, serotonin, which boosts mood, and endorphins, natural painkillers. In simple terms, being kind literally makes you feel better. But beyond the biology, there's something deeper at work here. Helping others gives you a reason to get up in the morning that doctor's appointment waitlist won't call itself. Puts your problems in perspective. Suddenly, your quiet house feels less lonely when you're focused on a shelter dog who needs walks. Creates natural connections. Shared purpose builds friendships faster than small talk ever could. You don't need to save the world, just one person's day. Many people here help others and imagine soup kitchens or overseas missions. But meaningful giving comes in all sizes. 1. The 15-minute miracle call that cousin who's been grieving and just listen without advice. Leave a thank you note in your mailbox for your postal worker. Compliment a stranger's smile at the pharmacy. 2. Hands-on. Helping for animal lovers. Local shelters need volunteers to pet cats or walk dogs. No training required, just love. For crafters, knit trauma bears for children's hospitals or sew mastectomy pillows for cancer centers. For green thumbs, grow extra veggies and donate them to a food pantry. 3. Wisdom sharing tutor kids at the library. They need help reading, not tech skills. Record your life stories for StoryCourse or a grandchild. Teach a skill you've mastered, woodworking, baking, budgeting, at a community center. Margaret's Cookie Revolution. How tiny acts create big change. Remember Margaret from our earlier story. Her cookie baking ritual did more than sweeten her mail carrier's day. It rewired her brain's loneliness response. Here's why it worked so well. It was doable. One batch of cookies a week, no burnout. It created routine human contact. Predictable kindness builds relationships. It made her feel needed. John counts on my Tuesday cookies. You don't need a grand gesture to start this chain reaction. A widow in Ohio began watering her neighbor's porch plants while they were at work. Now they have weekly tea. A retired mechanic in Texas offers free bicycle repairs at the park. Kids call him Mr. Fix-It and stop to chat. The hidden benefit nobody mentions. When you help others, you stop being an older person alone at home and become the quilt lady who makes blankets for NICU babies, the gentleman who reads to second graders every Thursday, the neighbor who always remembers everyone's birthdays. These identities come with built-in communities. The nursing home residents start asking when you'll bring your therapy dog again. The library staff saves new mystery novels for you. The barista learns your name because you come in every Tuesday after volunteering. How to start today without overwhelming yourself. Think small and often over big and rare. Better to commit to 30 minutes weekly than a full day monthly. Match giving to your abilities. Can't stand long? Stuff envelopes for a charity at home. Hate crowds? Write encouraging letters to troops overseas. Let it evolve naturally. That first conversation at the food pantry might lead to a coffee invitation. the beautiful paradox. Here's the funny thing about fighting loneliness through helping. The more you focus on others' needs, the less you notice your own loneliness. Not because it's gone, but because your heart is too full of purpose to leave room for it. So tell me, what's one tiny way you could brighten someone's world this week? Maybe it's putting a sticky note with an uplifting message on a park bench, offering to return a shopping cart for a young mom, emailing an old colleague to say, "Your advice years ago really helped me." Because in the end, we're all just walking each other home, and sometimes the person who needs your help most is you. Now, these first two tips are all about reaching out to old friends, to your community, to people who could use a little kindness. But what about the times when you're home by yourself? That's where our next idea comes in. You know, some of the loneliest moments happen right at home. Maybe in the evenings when the TV's on but no one's really watching it with you, or during meals that used to be shared with someone else. But here's the good news. Your home can also be the very place where you start to undo that loneliness. Let's talk about how. The healing power of daily rituals, how small routines can transform loneliness into comfort. Let me tell you about Mrs. Thompson, a 72-year-old widow who spent her first 6 months alone staring at the kitchen clock, watching the hours stretch endlessly before her. Then one rainy Tuesday, she dug out her grandmother's china teapot, the one she'd been saving for special occasions, and made herself a proper afternoon tea. That simple act started a revolution in her life. Why routines matter more than ever. After 60, when the structures of work and family responsibilities fade, our days can become formless oceans of time. Neurologists explain that our brains crave predictable patterns. They're how we make sense of the world. Without them, we drift. But with them, we create islands of meaning in our daily lives. Consider these scientifically proven benefits of rituals. They reduce anxiety by creating predictability. They enhance mindfulness by focusing our attention. They provide transitions between different parts of the day. They reinforce our sense of identity and worth, crafting your personal rhythm. The magic lies in creating routines that serve you, not constrain you. Here's how to build yours. Morning anchors, the first light ritual. Before checking phones or news, try spending 5 minutes at your window with your morning beverage, simply noticing the world waking up. A retired teacher in Maine calls this taking attendance for the day, noting which birds come to her feeder each morning. Sensory breakfasts. Instead of eating standing up, create a multi-sensory experience. Play music from your youth as you cook. Use the pretty jam jars you've been saving, or eat from colorful plates. These small pleasures signal to your brain, this day matters. Midday. Touchstones, the 3-stage lunch. A retired nurse in Florida swears by her prepare, enjoy, clean lunch ritual. She arranges her food beautifully, eats without distractions, then immediately washes her dishes while listening to an audiobook. This creates natural transitions in her day. Afternoon bridge moments. At 3 p.m., when energy often dips, try what a retired businessman in Chicago does, his walk and talk ritual. He strolls around his block while calling a different friend each day. The movement boosts his mood, and the connection lifts his spirits. Evening sanctuaries, the golden hour, wind down. An hour before bed, create what a retired librarian in Oregon calls her museum of the day, arranging small mementos from her day, a grocery receipt, a flower from her walk, on her dresser, while reflecting on small joys. Dinner as ceremony. Like Frank in our original story, many find power in honoring evening meals. A retired chef in New Mexico sets one beautiful place, setting each night with a handwritten menu of what he's prepared, because I'm worth the effort. Special weekly rituals. Wednesday watercolor. A group of widows in Arizona each paint the same subject weekly, then share their creations via text. Saturday spa hour. A retired gentleman in Georgia gives himself a proper shave and manicure while listening to classic radio shows. Sunday letters. A retired couple writes notes to grandchildren while reminiscing about their own grandparents. The psychology behind why this works. Dr. Ellen Langer's research at Harvard reveals that rituals work because they create mindfulness by forcing us to be present, provide a sense of control in uncertain times, help us construct meaning in ordinary moments, serve as acts of self-respect that combat loneliness, making it stick without pressure. Start small, choose one anchor moment to build around. Maybe it's opening your curtains each morning while saying aloud one thing you're grateful for, setting out tomorrow's clothes before bed each night, playing the same song while preparing your first cup of coffee. Remember Mrs. Thompson and her teapot? Within months, her silly little tea time grew into a daily ritual that included writing in a gratitude journal and calling a different friend each afternoon. Last I heard, she'd started a neighborhood tea club that meets weekly. Your rituals don't need to be elaborate, just intentional. That's the secret. When you consistently honor your time, you send yourself the most powerful message possible. I am here. I matter. This day counts. Because in the end, loneliness isn't just about being alone. It's about feeling unseen, even by yourself. These small acts of attention are how we say, I see you. You're worth this care. So tell me, what's one small ritual you could start tomorrow to honor your day? Maybe it's finally using those good towels, or sitting in your favorite chair to read the paper instead of skimming it at the counter. However small it seems, that first intentional act plants the seed from which contentment grows. Bridging the distance. How technology can be your unexpected ally against loneliness. Let me introduce you to Harold, an 82-year-old retired mechanic who swore he'd never touch those darn computers. Then his granddaughter showed him how to watch old car restoration videos online. Today, Harold not only streams documentaries daily, but he's part of an online vintage car club where he advises younger enthusiasts. Turns out, he told me with a grin, I wasn't too old. I just hadn't found the right on-ramp yet. Why technology deserves a second look. I completely understand the hesitation. Between confusing interfaces, rapid updates, and all that tiny text, technology can feel like it's working against us. But here's what we often miss. Modern tech wasn't designed to replace human connection. It was created to sustain it across distances and circumstances. Consider this. 73% of seniors who use video chat report feeling less isolated, Pew Research. Online communities for older adults have grown 300% since 2020. Simple tech tools can recreate the neighborhood interactions many of us miss. The gentle introduction, tech solutions that feel familiar, video calling made comfortable. Start with platforms designed for seniors like GrandPad or Facebook Portal. Practice with a tech buddy. Grandkids love being the teacher. Create standing video dates, Grandma's Saturday story time, or Tuesday tacos with Ted. Rediscovering the joy of voice, smart speakers, Amazon Echo, Google Home, for hands-free calls, music, and reminders. Voice-to-text features, so you can write emails by speaking. Audiobook apps like Libby that let you borrow library books instantly. The modern pen pal revolution. Email chains with old friends, less pressure than real-time chats. Photo sharing via simple apps like Google Photos. Online guest books for family events and memorials. Real people, real connections, unexpected tech success stories. Martha, 78, joins a virtual quilting circle where members across 3 countries share patterns via Zoom. Former teacher George, 81, tutors ESL students online through a senior volunteer program. Widowed sisters Irene and Rose, 85 and 88, play daily online Scrabble with their childhood friend in Scotland. Breaking down the barriers, common fears. Addressed, I'll break something. Most devices now have undo options and automatic backups. It's too complicated. Senior centers often offer free tech tutoring. Many libraries have tech tea time help sessions. I don't want to be on social media. Plenty of options exist outside Facebook, like Nextdoor for local connections. The hidden benefits beyond connection. Regular tech use keeps your mind engaged with new learning, provides access to telehealth and online pharmacies, lets you document and share family history, gives a sense of mastery and independence, getting started without overwhelm. The key is the snowflake method. Choose one tool to try first. maybe video calls or photo sharing. Learn just one function at a time. How to answer a call before learning to initiate. Practice at the same time daily to build confidence. Celebrate small wins. Your first emoji text deserves a happy dance. When tech isn't your thing, low digital alternatives. If screens still feel cold, invest in a senior-friendly cell phone with large buttons. Try a digital photo frame that family can update remotely. Use postcard services like TouchNote that mail your messages for you. The generational bonus. Here's the beautiful ripple effect no one mentions. When you engage with technology, you're not just helping yourself. You're giving younger family members meaningful ways to connect with you, preserving stories and wisdom in digital formats, modeling lifelong learning for your community. Harold put it best. Turns out my grandkids weren't trying to drag me into their world. They were trying to find a way into mine. Now, when I message them about some car part I found online, they respond faster than when I used to call. Your turn. Where will you start? Maybe it's asking a neighbor to show you how to view family photos on their tablet, visiting the library's tech help desk to learn email, dusting off that smartphone your kids gave you and charging it up. Remember, you don't have to run the digital marathon. Just take the first few steps at your own pace. Because in this connected age, loneliness often isn't about lack of people. It's about lack of bridges. And technology, when used with intention, can be the most surprising bridge of all. Now, these 4 ideas, reconnecting, helping others, building routines, and using technology, are all wonderful tools. But there's one more thing that might be the most important of all. We've covered so much already: reaching out to old friends, finding purpose in helping others, creating little daily rituals, and even letting technology lend a hand. But there's one last thing I want to share with you, and in some ways, it's the foundation of everything else we've talked about. The most important friendship you'll ever make: learning to cherish your own company. Let me tell you about Arthur, a 68-year-old retired banker who spent his first year of widowhood talking to his wife's photograph. One morning he caught himself answering his own question aloud, and something remarkable happened. For the first time since Martha passed, he told me, I realized I was still having a conversation with someone who mattered. Me. The paradox of self-loneliness. We spend so much time worrying about connecting with others that we often neglect the most fundamental relationship of all, the one we have with ourselves. Psychologists call this self-estrangement, that unsettling feeling of being a stranger in your own life. It's why you can be surrounded by people yet feel utterly alone. Consider these truths about self-connection. People with strong self-compassion experience loneliness less intensely. Neff and Germer, 2013. The average person spends only 5% of their waking hours in true self-reflection, Harvard research. Your inner voice speaks about 4,000 words per minute to yourself. What is yours saying? Becoming your own best friend. Practical steps. 1. The art of self-dialogue. Morning mirror practice. Look yourself in the eye and say one affirming thing. Develop personal mantras. I'm doing better than I think, or this too shall pass. Try the best friend test. Ask, would I say this to someone I love? 2. Rediscovering who you are. Now create a life resume listing not jobs, but skills and wisdom gained. Take yourself on weekly solo dates to places that spark joy. Experiment with identity play. Try on new versions of yourself through clothing, hobbies, or habits. 3. Building self-intimacy. Through ritual. Evening reflection. Light a candle and review 3 moments you're proud of. Memory lane walks. Visit meaningful locations from your past. And notice how you've grown. Alone but not lonely meals. Set a beautiful table for one. And savor the experience. The science of self-friendship. Neurologically, positive self-talk reduces cortisol, stress hormone levels by up to 23%, increases dopamine production, creating natural motivation, strengthens the anterior cingulate cortex, improving emotional regulation, breaking the self-criticism habit. Many of us have spent decades perfecting the art of self-criticism. To shift this, Notice the narrative. Keep a thought log for one day. Reframe the language. Change "I should have" to "next time I might." Create a kindness counterpart. For every criticism, identify one strength. Evelyn's mirror method. Expanded. The woman from our original story developed her technique further. She keeps a compliment jar where she drops notes about small victories. She created Evie's encouragement playlist of songs that make her feel capable. She writes herself postcards when traveling, mailing them home as surprises. The generous self. Why self-friendship helps others. When you become your own ally, you have more authentic energy for relationships. You model healthy self-regard for younger generations. You become less dependent on others for validation, common roadblocks, and how to overcome them. It feels selfish. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. I don't know who I am anymore. Start small with I statements about preferences. I enjoy. I prefer. It's too late to change. The brain remains plastic throughout life. New patterns can always form. Your self-friendship starter kit. Choose one practice to begin this week. Write yourself a forgiveness letter for past regrets. Create a brag list of things you've handled well recently. Schedule regular meetings with yourself to check in. Develop a personal motto that resonates with your values. Arthur, our retired banker, eventually turned his one-sided conversations into a daily practice he calls board meeting with myself. He dresses in his old suit every Wednesday, reviews his week's accomplishments, and gives himself permission to feel proud. Somewhere along the way, he told me, I realized Martha wasn't the only one who believed in me. I did too. The ultimate truth about loneliness. Loneliness isn't just the absence of others. It's the absence of connection to yourself. When you become someone whose company you genuinely enjoy, you carry with you an inexhaustible source of comfort and companionship, not as a replacement for other relationships, but as their essential foundation. Because here's the secret no one tells you. The person who's been with you through every triumph and tragedy, who knows your whole story and will be there until the very end, is you. Isn't it time you got to know them better? So, there we are. 5 simple, doable ways to beat loneliness after 60. And remember, you don't have to tackle them all at once. Try one, see how it feels. Then maybe add another. This isn't about fixing everything overnight. It's about reminding yourself day by day that your life is still full of possibilities. I'd love to hear which of these ideas resonated with you most, or if you found other ways to stay connected that I didn't mention. Drop a comment below, and let's keep this conversation going. And if this video helped you, pass it along to someone else who might need it. After all, that's what connection's all about. Until next time, here's to your joy, your courage, and the wonderful truth that you're never truly alone.